All right, so today we're diving into something pretty different.
Yeah.
It's a speech by BTS.
At the UN.
Yeah, at the UN General Assembly.
Biggest stage.
Huge stage, right. Now, before you go, what does K-pop have to do with global issues? This is way deeper than you think.
Yeah.
We're focusing on their message at the 75th session, specifically the one focused on COVID-19's impact on young people.
Right.
We're using the official transcript from UNICEF.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's called BTS Heartfelt Message to Young People at UNGA.
Okay, so
That's pretty incredible.
what really hits me about this speech is how it's not just some celebrity PSA.
Right.
This is BTS.
Yeah.
They spoke at the UN before about Love Myself, remember?
Yeah.
But this time, they're back in a world totally changed by the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And they're dealing with the same stuff as everyone else.
Yeah, you're right. It's not about them being famous. It's about being human.
Yeah.
And they get right to it.
Mm-hmm.
RM, the leader, really sets that contrast up.
Okay.
2 years before this, he was at the UN, full of hope,
Yeah.
talking about limitless possibilities.
Uh-huh.
Now he's back, and the world's different.
Very different.
And he's not shying away from it.
So what does he say?
Well, he talks about their world tour being canceled.
Oh, wow.
Plans falling apart, that feeling of isolation.
I mean, yeah, that's just like what everyone went through.
Oh, it's like a mini version of what the whole world was going through.
Totally. Think
Yeah.
about it. How many of your own plans got messed up because of the pandemic?
All of them.
Right. That sudden change from it's all going to happen to who knows what's next.
Yeah,
So a lot of people can relate to that.
for sure. And that feeling of isolation, it's all over the speech.
Okay.
Each member shares their own experience.
Uh-huh.
It's really interesting how different their approaches are.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, like Jimin,
Yeah.
he talks about going from these huge stages
Right,
to
right,
being
right.
stuck in one room.
It's such a drastic change.
Yeah.
That shrinking of his world. It's like what happened to all of us.
Yep.
We were all forced to live smaller lives.
Yeah.
And for someone like him who's used to nonstop motion energy tours,
Yeah.
that stillness must have been really hard.
Then there's Suga.
Oh, yeah.
He actually compares touring to the pandemic.
Really?
He was already used to his world shrinking down to a hotel room every night.
Okay.
But he said this was different.
See that?
This was heavier.
Huh.
What's interesting is that he found peace in the simplicity.
Mhm.
He rediscovered the things that really mattered to him.
Like what?
His music, his connection with fans.
That's beautiful.
It's like the pandemic made him look inward.
Yeah.
And maybe it did that for a lot of us too. We lost all the distractions,
Right.
just left with the basics.
Yeah.
And in that, he found a new kind of peace.
Interesting.
Then you have V.
Right.
He's known for being creative and energetic.
Yeah, he's got that vibe.
But even he struggled.
With what?
His imagination and motivation weren't the same.
You're kidding?
He said it was hard to picture the future.
I bet a lot of creative people felt that.
Definitely.
It just shows you even people who seem invincible,
Yeah.
people we put on a pedestal,
Right.
they go through the same stuff as us.
Yeah.
Like if V, with all his energy, is feeling that weight,
Mm-hmm.
it lets us admit our own struggles are real.
Totally. It makes them more human, right?
Yeah.
It strips away the celebrity and shows they have the same challenges.
Exactly.
Then we come to J-Hope.
Okay.
He talks about a turning point.
What happened?
He describes how the group took all those tough emotions,
The fear, the isolation, all of that.
all of it,
Oh,
and they channeled it into making music.
that's powerful.
It's a big point, I think.
Definitely.
It might connect with you listening, too.
How so?
Well, what do you do when something huge throws your life off track?
That's a good question.
J-Hope's answer is create.
Interesting.
Find a way to let those feelings out.
Mm.
And when you do that, you turn them into something beautiful.
Art can be like that.
Yeah.
A way to cope, to make sense of chaos.
You're finding control in a situation that feels out of control.
Yeah.
Focusing on what you can do.
Exactly.
Even if it's just expressing yourself in a song.
Or a painting or whatever.
It's about using that creative energy to be strong.
I like that.
And then he says something really powerful.
What's that?
He says, "We don't know all the answers."
Wow.
It's humble and it's strong at the same time.
How so?
He's admitting we don't understand everything.
Right.
That there are things we just don't know.
Yeah.
And he's saying it's okay to not be certain.
To be uncomfortable not knowing.
Exactly.
That's a big lesson.
Instead, he says, focus on what you can control.
Like what?
Your effort, your passion,
Okay.
your belief in yourself.
That makes sense.
It's about that inner strength that
Yeah.
helps you deal with the unknown
Yeah.
and keep going even when you don't have the answers.
I like that a lot. And then we have Jin bringing us back to one of their main messages.
Oh, yeah.
Self-love.
So important. It's interesting how he ties it to the pandemic,
Okay.
saying how much we need inner strength and happiness.
Especially when things are uncertain.
Right.
It's like he's saying, now more than ever, love yourself.
Yeah.
Find that strength inside.
Because that's where we find true resilience.
And it fits perfectly with their Love Myself campaign.
Absolutely.
It's not just a saying, it's how they live.
And it's something we need more of during hard times.
You're right. They're basically saying, take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
That way you'll have the strength to deal with everything else.
Exactly. And then Jungkook comes in with this really sharp observation.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
It's subtle, but it changes things.
I'm intrigued.
He talks about being physically isolated,
Right?
but finding connection through their music and stories.
That's cool.
And it wasn't just about them.
Oh,
They were using their platform.
their huge reach.
Yeah, to connect with fans.
To give them support.
It reminds us that even when things are really bad,
Yeah.
human connection can make us strong. Even when we're apart, we can find ways to connect.
Through shared experiences.
Through art, just by reaching out.
Letting people know they're not alone.
It's like they're not saying, we need help.
Yeah.
They're saying, we're here to help.
That's a powerful shift.
Using their voices to make others feel stronger.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then we get back to RM
Right.
for the big finish.
He brings it all together.
Oh.
He goes back to his message from 2 years before,
Oh.
urging everyone to face who we are and try to love ourselves.
It's like he's saying, don't forget about yourself even in a crisis.
Yeah, remember who you are.
Things are hard now, but you have the strength to get through this.
Exactly. He also acknowledges the darkness.
The pain, the difficulty.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
But he's not letting it win.
No, he's saying we need to dream.
About the future.
Yeah, even though it might be hard.
To break free from our little rooms.
To connect again.
It's a message of hope.
Of not giving up.
Of seeing the challenges.
But not letting them crush us.
He's saying, yeah, it's tough.
But we've been through tough times before.
And we can do it again.
And to do that, he says we have to find the light.
Even in the dark?
He uses this amazing imagery.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about stars being brightest in the darkest night.
Beautiful.
And the moonlight guiding us when we can't see the stars.
It's like a metaphor for finding hope when things are hard.
It's about how we adapt.
How we survive, even when things are really bad.
And then he says this.
When?
If even the moon is dark, let our faces be the light.
Wow.
Powerful, right?
Yeah, it's like he's saying, don't wait to be saved. Be the light yourself.
Be the change you want to see.
Take control of your own life.
Even when everything feels uncertain.
It's the heart of their message.
Finding strength in ourselves.
In each other.
Believing that even in darkness, there's hope.
It's a beautiful message.
And that hope, he says, will let us reimagine our world.
To see a brighter future.
More connected.
More compassionate.
And then he ends with that line.
The one everyone knows.
Life goes on. Let's live on.
So simple, but so strong.
It reminds us that life keeps moving.
Even when things are hard.
And we get to choose how we live it.
And it's not just for young people, is it?
No, it's for everyone.
It doesn't matter how old you are, where you're from, or what you're going through.
We're all in this together.
This speech goes beyond cultures.
It's about being human.
Facing challenges, finding strength, and choosing hope.
So what does this all mean for you listening?
What are your stars or your moonlight?
What helps you through tough times?
What strength do you have inside to reimagine your world?
What gives you hope when things are hard?
Remember what BTS said?
Life goes on. Let's live on.
And they're right.
They're not superheroes.
Just people who have struggled.
And they're using their platform to spread hope.
It's inspiring.
It shows us that we can all make a difference.
Even in small ways.
So what did you take away from this?
What really hit home for you?
For me, it's remembering that even in the darkest times,
there's always a little bit of hope.
And sometimes we have to be that hope.
For ourselves and for others.
Well said.
Yeah.
And remember, life goes on. Let's live on.
Let's do it. It's not just about, finding that light for yourself either.
Right.
RM talks about our faces being the light for other people too.
Oh, yeah.
Like spreading that hope outward.
When I heard that line the first time,
yeah,
I got chills.
It's a powerful image.
It is. He's saying we have the power to light the way for others.
We can be that for each other.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not just about getting through tough times.
Mm-hmm.
It's about doing more than that.
Thriving.
Yeah, thriving. Using those challenges to grow.
To be creative.
To connect.
Absolutely. We're all connected,
Yeah.
Even little things like being kind, showing empathy, just understanding each other.
Right.
Those things can make a difference.
They spread outward.
Like ripples.
They're making the world better for everyone.
And that connects back to what BTS is all about.
Their values.
Yeah, their Love Myself campaign.
It's about knowing who you are.
Accepting your flaws.
And using that self-love to make a change.
That's a good point. Maybe something for everyone listening to think about.
Yeah, for sure.
How are you being that light?
For yourself and for others.
How are you using self-love to deal with hard times?
Are you embracing those flaws?
Using them to learn and grow?
It's like they're saying, don't let the darkness win.
Yeah.
Let it make you stronger.
It's a call to action for all of us.
We all have a part to play.
In making the world better.
More hopeful.
More compassionate.
You know, it's amazing how they do this.
What do you mean?
How they bring these big ideas into their music and shows.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just entertainment.
It's deeper.
They're making a real connection with their fans.
It's a sense of purpose.
Sharing something real.
That's what makes their message so powerful.
They're not just talking down to people.
Yeah.
They're being vulnerable.
Sharing their struggles.
And that makes them relatable.
To millions of people.
It's like they're saying, hey, we're in this too.
We get it.
We're all going through this together.
It's comforting to hear that.
Especially when you don't know what's going to happen.
When I first heard this speech,
Yeah.
it really hit me.
What about you? What was your reaction?
I think it made me think differently.
About the pandemic.
About everything, really.
About yourself.
Yeah. And
Sharing those experiences gives other people permission
to feel their own stuff.
to admit they're struggling.
To know they're not alone.
It creates this space for being real.
Vulnerable. Authentic.
Which is so important.
Especially when the world tells us to pretend everything's okay.
This speech is so much more than just celebrities talking.
Right.
It's about human connection.
Sharing what we go through.
And finding hope.
Even when things are really hard.
And that message is still relevant today.
Even years later.
It's because they're talking about things that never go away.
Like what?
Feeling alone.
Not knowing what's next.
Searching for what your life means.
Those are things we all deal with.
At some point. So as we start to wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah.
I want to ask you something.
Okay.
What are those stars for you?
Or that moonlight.
What helps you through the dark times?
What gives you strength?
Inspiration.
Connection.
How do you reimagine your world?
How do you find hope when it's hard?
Remember what BTS said?
Life goes on. Let's live on.
And sometimes.
The strongest light is the one inside us.
Thanks for being with us on this deep dive.
Until next time.
It's incredible how they connect with people so deeply.
Yeah.
Like their vulnerability makes them stronger.
And it makes their fans stronger, too.
That's what makes the speech so amazing.
They're sharing their struggles.
Showing that even global superstars have the same worries and fears we do.
Exactly.
It's like they're breaking down those walls between them and the audience,
Right.
saying, come with us on this journey.
To figure ourselves out.
To find our strength.
And to choose hope.
They're showing us how to do the same.
To embrace being vulnerable.
Find strength in sharing our experiences.
And to pick hope, even when things are tough.
It makes you think about how powerful it is to just be real.
Absolutely.
The world tells us to be perfect, to hide our flaws.
But BTS is showing us a different way.
A better way.
It's so refreshing and inspiring.
It reminds us that it's okay to not be okay.
It's okay to admit you're struggling.
To reach out for help.
To connect with others.
And what's amazing is that they do all of this while still being hopeful.
Right.
They don't ignore the bad stuff.
But they remind us there's always good, too.
Whether it's inside us.
Or in our connections with others.
Or just believing that things will get better.
That's their message in a nutshell.
Don't let challenges control you.
Find the strength to keep going.
Keep dreaming.
Keep believing.
And remember, we all have a part in making that better future happen.
It's like RM said, let our faces be the light.
Be kind, be compassionate.
Be there for others.
Even small actions can make a difference.
They create a ripple effect.
Making the world a better place.
So as we wrap up our look at BTS's message at the UN,
I want to leave you with this one last thought.
what are those things that guide you when things are dark?
What strength do you have inside?
That helps you make your world a better place.
How do you find hope when times are tough?
Remember what BTS said, life goes on, let's live on.
And let's do it together.
With courage and kindness.
Building a brighter future for everyone.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.